important partnership for the Baltimore region. Before we get to the heart of what brings us here today, I'd like to welcome the many distinguished guests who are part of this historic occasion. First of all, Governor Wes Moore, thank you for your leadership in bringing us all together to advance transportation for the Baltimore region. Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller, thank you for sharing your transportation expertise and leadership and your tireless support for transit. Transportation Secretary Paul Wiedefeld, we're so glad to be able to count on your experience across our transportation projects. I'd also like to briefly recognize a few others who have made this historic event possible. We would not be here today without the ongoing partnership of our amazing federal delegation. Senators Cardin and Van Hollen, Representatives Sarbanes and Mfume tirelessly advocate for transit and the Baltimore region. They couldn't be with us today because they needed to be taking care of business in DC, but we deeply appreciate their ongoing support, and we want to acknowledge the staff here representing them. I'm also grateful for Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski, and all of those who are working to make the Baltimore region thrive. Thank you for your support and for making the power of public transit a priority. We have an amazing number of supporters for the project, and I'd like to recognize just a few. I'm not going to name everyone because I'd be here all day, but I want to call out specifically the newly formed Red Line Community Advisory Team, the Red Line interns, the Baltimore Regional Transit Commission, the Greater Baltimore Committee, Baltimore Metropolitan Council, the Greater Washington Partnership, and our many advocacy groups, including Transit Choices, Baltimore Transit Equity Coalition, and CMTA. Thank you all. So thank you for your support and for making the power of public transit a priority. Last summer, we relaunched the Baltimore Red Line. Since then, we've worked hard to move the project forward. I'm so happy to be back with you today to share that progress that we've made. It's my pleasure to introduce the person who has been instrumental in restarting this transformational project. Governor Moore, last summer you challenged MTA to move the Baltimore Red Line forward quickly, but with strong community engagement. Our team has leaned into that challenge, and we appreciate your strong support and guidance. Please join me in welcoming Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
Good morning. How we doing? It's a good day. This is a beautiful day, and this is a hard-fought day. And listen, things do not just happen. Things are made to happen. And this is the team that made today happen. Congratulations. This is a day that we will celebrate for generations to come. Thank you. And Administrator Arnold, I just want to thank you. You know, we talk about people who, without them today, would not be here. You are one of those people. And so thank you for your diligence. Thank you for your community focus. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you for everything you do to make sure that everybody is seen in this city, in this state. Congratulations, and thank you so much, Administrator. And this is a great day for Baltimore, y'all. And it's a great day for Maryland. And it's important to understand that to get here, it took a journey. It took a journey of many steps, a lot of conversations, a lot of hard work, a lot of push, and a lot of determination. Today did not just happen. You all made it happen. Because this journey, to understand it, you also have to understand what it took to get here. Because over 2 decades ago, leaders from around the city and around the state and leaders from every single sector in our society got together and first started working on the first iteration of the Red Line project. Over 2 decades ago, the work began with an understanding that you cannot have economic mobility if you do not have physical mobility. And with a clear understanding that there are parts of our state that had not been seen, nor supported, nor invested in, and that it would take every single sector and person to be able to play their role in order for us to advance this mission. Over 2 decades ago, people started working because they knew that Baltimore City has hundreds of thousands of jobs, but jobs that people could not access easily. They knew that we have some of the best colleges, some of the best museums, some of the best hospitals, some of the best theaters in the world. That Baltimore is the place to be. But that for so many people in Baltimore, they could not get access to those assets. They knew that our economy is stable, but it was not dynamic, and that our GDP had been falling behind cities like Washington and Philadelphia for years, and mobility was the way to address that. So they got together, they started working on a plan to help build transit that can move people east-west in Baltimore. And then after years of planning, after countless hours, after countless partnerships, and millions already spent, our predecessor pulled the plug and said that this was not needed. For who, I'm not sure exactly who he's speaking about. Because I know for the people of this city and for the people of this state, it was very much needed. So when we took office, the Lieutenant Governor and our entire administration, we knew that bringing the Red Line back to life wasn't just an opportunity, it was an obligation. And that we weren't going to pass the ball. That we weren't going to equivocate. And we weren't going to just hope that someone else would solve this problem for us. That in this moment, we were going to be bold. And today, we proudly announce that the new Baltimore Red Line will run on light rail transit. And listen, this is the right choice for Baltimore. It's the fair choice for Baltimore. And it's the right and the fair choice for the state of Maryland. And here's the beautiful thing about light rail. It speaks to both Baltimore's legacy of leadership in the last century, and it reaffirms our newfound leadership in this century. Because sometimes it is easy to forget that Baltimore City used to be on the leading edge of public transit. The first commercially operated streetcar in America began its operation in Baltimore. It wasn't New York, it wasn't Philly, it wasn't Detroit, Baltimore. And today, we will reclaim the mantle of innovation. And it's going to have direct impact on the everyday lives of our neighbors. It will help the single parent who needs to commute across town to get to work. It will help the high school student who needs to get to school in another part of the city. It will help Marylanders of all backgrounds travel from where they live to where opportunity lies. And this decision won't just help individual people and families, it will generate enormous economic growth that will resonate not just in the city of Baltimore, but all throughout the region. Because, and let's get specific, the Red Line will create over 5,000 new jobs in its initial construction phase alone. The Red Line will drive over $10 billion in economic activity from the construction alone. That the Red Line will help to deliver more than $6 billion of income for local workers. So this is a big deal. And we couldn't have gotten to this point without all the leaders that we have here today. I want to thank our fantastic Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller, for her work. I want to thank our extraordinary Secretary of Transportation, Paul Wiedefeld, for the work that he continues to do to lead us so valiantly. I want to thank Administrator Arnold for all of her leadership and work in making this happen. I want to thank all the members of the Moore-Miller administration who have just put countless hours and effort into making sure that when we said this project needs to get done, they said, oh, it'll get done. I want to thank our amazing local partners inside this work. Mayor Scott, County Executive Olszewski, you all have been remarkable partners since day one on this, and we are so grateful to have you here because this celebrates a full circle moment that we got a lot done and we got a lot more to do. We're grateful for both y'all, and thank you so much. Commissars, and the work that you all continue to do over here with, not just at Hopkins and the work throughout, but just continuing to understand and continue to place humanity inside this work, and we are so grateful for you. And that's the baddest red bow tie that I have seen all day long. I love it. And all of our federal partners, our congressional delegation, who have made sure that this would get moved to the front of the line. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to President Biden, to Vice President Harris, to all the members of the Biden-Harris administration who have made infrastructure a top priority for Baltimore, for Maryland, and for this country. Most importantly, I want to thank Baltimore. I want to thank Baltimore for always believing in Baltimore and always believing that this was going to be an important moment for our city to lead. And I want to spend just a second speaking directly to Baltimore. Because when I say this is going to be Maryland's decade, and I want to be clear, when I say this Maryland decade, people before are like, oh, that sounds cute. But now we got receipts. This really is going to be Maryland's decade. People see this now. We weren't playing. But in order for this to be Maryland's decade, it's got to be Baltimore's time. And when people say that, of course you'd say that. You know, you're a Baltimorean. I don't say that because I'm a homer. I say that because I'm very good at math. It's the state's largest city. You cannot have a thriving state if the state's largest city isn't thriving. And this is a time that I know for a lot of folks in Baltimore that we've been told over and over that we need to temper our expectations. That I know that we've been told that, you know what, we just need to wait our turn. You all get too much. That sometimes we oftentimes don't even dare to be hopeful because we know it's too painful to watch hope pulled from you. That we know sometimes it's just easier to be subtle and humble and not to dream. Well, I would just want to say this to Baltimore. Those days are done. We're dreaming big. And we're getting big things done because we are getting them done together. That the relationship that we have between Annapolis and Baltimore has never been stronger. That we believe in partnership. We believe in the remarkable work that's being done in Baltimore. And Mr. Mayor, I just want to say thank you for all the work that you continue to do for our city, and County Executive, all the work that you continue to do for Baltimore County. That we stand united, and that partnership produces progress, and nothing else does. And so we've chosen to work in partnership, to be able to do big things like invest in our neighborhoods, and invest in community, and invest in job training, and invest in public safety, And it's the reason why right now, not just in Baltimore, but across the state of Maryland, we now have record levels of unemployment in the state of Maryland, record levels of drops in homicides and violent crime, record increases in public safety, record increases in economic growth and economic advancement, and we are just getting started. That we've shown we're not going to make choices, and particularly make false political choices. So we can say things like, yes, we are going to make sure that the AL East first place Baltimore Orioles, let's be clear, by the way, that we're going to keep the Orioles in Baltimore for 30 years, and we are going to invest to make sure that Preakness and horse racing stays in the city of Baltimore, but it's not just about the horse racing. We're also going to make sure we're investing in Park Heights, too. That this is a time that we're going to make this moment matter. That this is a time that people are going to remember that we chose to work together. And the results were that we could do big things. And so from this point forward, we will rally. We will rally around the banner of this new insignia, specifically designed for the newest chapter of the Red Line project. And in fact, I'd like to invite our Lieutenant Governor up so we can display exactly what this looks like. Drum roll, please. Drum roll. All right, 1, 2, 3. This is not just the logo, this is the banner of promise. All right? For those who watched progress die, for those who became frustrated because they weren't sure that we could actually get big things done, to those who want to live in skepticism and cynicism, I say this: sit by, watch us work, and watch us win, because we're going to win together. This is a time when Maryland is going to choose to do big things. This is our decade, y'all. And this project is going to be a core reason why. And so I'm honored and delighted to bring up my partner inside this work. And I tell you, when I first asked Runa Miller to be my running mate on this ticket, and I knew that this was something we wanted to get done, I have to say, the fact that she was a transportation engineer, that helped out quite a bit. And this moment and this journey, it could not have happened without her, and I could not be more grateful to have her as a partner inside this work. Everybody, our spectacular Lieutenant Governor, Runa Miller.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. You know, I got to tell you, if that's the reason, Governor, you chose me to be Lieutenant Governor, here's one for the nerds of the world, okay? Love it. And what a beautiful logo this is, right? And that is what's fitting for a beautiful city of Charm City. You deserve nothing but the very best. Now, I've noticed on the logo, there's, I don't know, it looks like a V up there, V for victory. Right? That's what this is leading to. So again, thank you all for being here this afternoon. And as was stated earlier, 1 year ago this month, Governor Moore and I stood here to reaffirm our commitment to the people of Baltimore that the Red Line will get the green light. And today, we stand here to say we have listened to the community, the people have spoken, and Baltimore wants the Red Line to bring light rail to Baltimore. the long overdue transit system that will provide access to employment, education, social inclusion while reducing disparities. A vital transportation system that the city has long awaited and rightfully deserves. Baltimore, with its history marked by redlining, now has the opportunity to uplift its future by the Red Line. Public transit is an instrument of freedom, equity, environmental justice, and the quality of life. The Red Line will reverse economic struggle and provide Marylanders with the freedom to connect to jobs and opportunity from East to West Baltimore. The Red Line will ensure easy access for people of all ages, physical abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. And the Red Line will decrease air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions. I spent my career as a transportation engineer in order to improve the quality of life for our residents, and the Red Line will allow Marylanders to enjoy reduced travel times and more time with their loved ones. Governor Moore and I have a guiding principle in everything that we do, and that is to leave no one behind. This is our North Star. But the reality is that too many Marylanders have been left behind as a result of political decisions that denied them access to a reliable transit system. In 2015, as a state delegate from Montgomery County, I was proud to join the Baltimore delegation in advocating for the Red Line project. And yet, the project was canceled. And today, I'm honored to stand with Governor Moore, our federal, state, and local public leaders, Kat, Lucia, who's head of CAT there, and the people of Baltimore as we move forward carrying the hopes and dreams of countless Marylanders, eager for progress and opportunity. It's not lost on us that just a few short miles from here is another impressive engineering feat that is about to unfold, and that is the reconstruction of our iconic Key Bridge. Two transportation projects that will transform Baltimore, Maryland's largest city. Two bold ventures that will remind the nation that we are Maryland tough and Baltimore strong. So to the people of Baltimore, Governor Moore and I are dedicated to bringing you transit justice because you deserve nothing less. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, a lifelong Baltimorean who has devoted his life to Baltimore. And Governor Moore and I couldn't be more proud of his leadership and the work that his and his team at MDOT are providing to the people of Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Secretary Paul Wiedefeld of MDOT.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Governor Moore, you may not remember this, but about 18 months ago when you interviewed me, there was a to-do list, and number one on that to-do list was the Red Line. So this is a major milestone in chipping away at that to-do list. And you also mentioned the two-decade history with this project. That's why this project is personal to me and to many in this room that I dealt with 2 decades ago. We had this project, right? This project has been needed. It's been needed for decades. People know the East-West movement in Baltimore City. Anyone who's grew up in Baltimore City, they know the difficulty of particularly moving by transit east-west in this city, and it is needed. And it's needed today, but more importantly, or just as importantly, it's needed for the future. That's what this is about. It's about the future of Baltimore City and the Baltimore region, because it supports everything that we're trying to achieve here. Not just in mobility, but economic growth, environmental quality, equity. That's what this project's really about. So thank you, sir, and thank you to the entire team for everything they've done to get us this far. We got a lot of work to do, and we're ready to go. We're moving. Holly and her team are fantastic, and we're going to get the next phase of this done, and then we're going to get the federal money, and then we're going to build this thing. So thank you, sir. With that, I'm going to introduce the next speaker, great county executive, Johnny L.
I think it's afternoon. Good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your partnership. We've got a governor who's got very good taste in cabinet officials and in team members. So Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Miller, Secretary Riedefeld, Administrator Arnold, President Sowers, community partners, including Lucia and Jennifer, and my point guard, Mayor Scott. We are all excited to be here for today's announcement. You know, and while we are here celebrating today's announcement, we also know that we could and we should be celebrating instead with a ribbon cutting. We know that there were short-sighted decisions of a prior administration that has derailed our progress. But fortunately, after being set back a decade and knowing that our people deserve better, we have a governor and we have a team who understands the need to get us back on track, figuratively and literally. So, Governor, I want to commend you and your team for working with myself, with Mayor Scott, with community partners to make sure that we not only restart the Red Line, but I also want to applaud your decision today for choosing to make sure that it is also being done by rail. We think that is right by our riders. We know it will improve ridership and will make sure we maximize the benefits of having that east-west connectivity. We also know it puts Baltimore and the Baltimore region on par with our friends and partners in the D.C. region who have a robust, strong economic driver in their metro system. And I want to applaud you, Governor, and your team for working closely with us. That says, even though we've lost a decade, we're not losing sight of what has changed in that decade. So thank you for working with us on the eastern extension, so that after we rebuild what is already needed, we look at not just Hopkins, but also employment centers like Trade Point Atlantic. And collectively, we are making sure that the entire Baltimore region, nearly 2 million people, are connected to education, to healthcare, to workforce opportunities. We share your vision of a comprehensive, interconnected transportation network. We applaud you not only again for putting this back on track, but for doing it with rail and with our support and with the involvement of local partners, state officials, our incredible federal delegation, and not forgetting the community along the way. This is a momentous day. We have a lot of work to do, but we're making incredible progress. And I know that the next speaker shares in that excitement. He is someone who is a son of Baltimore, who believes in the promise of Baltimore's future, and someone I've had the privilege and honor of working alongside as we build together, recognizing that we rise and fall as one region. Mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are celebrating the Red Line. We will be doing better than that. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Today is a very important day in Baltimore's history. For years and years and years and years, Mr. Governor, we've talked about the importance of the Red Line. A lot of that talk was about the crippling effect that the original cancellation of the Red Line had on the city of Baltimore. Of course, that was done by the former governor, who took Baltimore off the map, literally and figuratively, as he decided that the people here didn't need this project because in his eyes, the people here didn't matter. He thought we didn't need public transit, that it wasn't worthwhile for people who work here at Bayview to be able to easily get across town, or there was no reason to help city residents and county residents more easily enjoy all the great things that Baltimore City has to offer. And just because he thought that, all of us paid the price. But then we had an election, and exactly almost a year ago, we gathered on the other end of the Red Line in West Baltimore to proclaim that the Red Line will be coming back. And here we are today, announcing today that we will be building Red Line and building it the right way, Mr. Governor, with light rail, a proven and beloved part of Baltimore's transportation system already. In my mind, clearly, that's the right choice. And I want to thank everyone who's been a part of getting us to that point, because we all know it's been a long, long road to get to this announcement. Mr. Governor, Madam Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Secretary, Madam Administrator, Mr. County Executive, our wonderful congressional delegation, to the President and Vice President, thank you. Because at the end of the day, it sends a message to the residents of Baltimore that we, again, are a priority. But for the most of us, that prioritization never went anywhere. As you said, Mr. Governor, Baltimoreans always fight for Baltimore, and we're going to continue to do that each and every day. But we couldn't do it alone, and it's critical that the leaders in Annapolis share our love for this city. And that's what we finally have in Governor Moore, after having a governor who clearly despised the city with every time he had a press conference. Mr. Governor, on behalf of all of Baltimore, especially those who come from parts of Baltimore that have been historically forgotten, thank you. And as a former high school student that made that trek from west to east and back again every day, I can assure you that with your commitment to the Red Line, Baltimoreans feel seen and valued. Today's announcement shows that the time for talk is over, and the time to actually move forward with a plan that works for all Baltimoreans is here. We need this kind of investment. We need accessible transit that makes life easier for those who live, work, and play here, and we know people love to come here to play, especially when the Orioles are in first place. Only when we realize this kind of equitable investment that looks toward the future of when our city is in full bloom of its renaissance that is already happening here in Baltimore, despite what some folks might want to tell you, Mr. Governor, and you know I have the numbers in front of me. When you have a 34% reduction in homicides on top of a 20% reduction in homicides, when you have a 31% reduction in non-fatal shootings, you can see that Baltimore is not only getting better, we are leading the way for cities around the country. And I don't want it to be lost on anyone that this Red Line will bring opportunity for prosperity to West Baltimore, where the shells of homes that are the product of redlining stand today. That message that is being sent to those people, to those families who were displaced by a highway that doesn't exist, who knew that their neighborhood was devalued just because of the color of their skin, that they are now going to have a 21st century transportation system built in their neighborhood, Mr. Governor, sends shockwaves through the culture of West Baltimore. And I could not be happier to be here today to celebrate this project. I'm thrilled to take this step, but I can't wait to take that first ride. Thank you very much. And with that, I will introduce my near and dear good friend, President Kevin Sowers from Johns Hopkins. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Listen, Mr. Governor, I promise you in the near future you will have a red bow tie. Listen, I want to thank you all for being here and the opportunity to host this event today. And on behalf of Dr. DeWeese, who is over here, he's the Dean of Johns Hopkins School of Medicine and also the CEO of Johns Hopkins Medicine. I also want to bring greetings to the Governor, Governor Miller, Lieutenant Governor Miller, Secretary Wiedefeld, MTA Administrator Arnold, my dear friend Johnny O, County Executive, and colleague and friend in working through challenges and opportunities in the city, Mayor Brandon Scott. You know, we are proud to be a part of the Baltimore community, and we are honored to be a part of today's event about community and about community connection. In so many ways, and in our society, is increasingly connected through this thing called virtual means. But to truly advance as a city and as a state, the people of Baltimore need more readily accessible transit systems that connect across real-world sites. As the president of Johns Hopkins Health System and executive vice president of Johns Hopkins Medicine, I am excited to be a part of today's event as it signals that we are one step closer to a time when our patients and their loved ones will find it easier to get to their appointments. We are one step closer to ensuring that our staff members have safe, reliable means to get to and from our campuses each and every day. And we are one step closer to realizing this transformational change that will propel us forward together. This is particularly important for our future because healthcare organizations across this great nation are facing an unprecedented crisis in recruiting workers at skill levels and in all areas of expertise. Providing a safe and efficient transportation system across this region will support recruitment and retention efforts across all industries and allow us to continue to deliver on our tripart mission of advancing excellence in patient care, research, and education for many generations to come. As part of this vibrant community, our success and the success of our neighbors are intertwined. So this is a great step forward for the people of Baltimore and beyond, for our collective future. And I particularly want to thank Governor Moore and the people of the Moore administration for their forward-thinking leadership in advancing the Red Line project. So thank you, Governor Moore. Now I'd like the opportunity, but before I do, I need to stop for a minute and recognize the meaning of this institution that's behind you and what vulnerable populations we serve in this community. And I need to thank the entire faculty and staff and leadership team of Bayview for what they do each and every day to take care of the members of our community. So thank you. I also have the great privilege right now to hand over the microphone and podium to President Jennifer Nichols.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What an honor to be here on this beautiful day with Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Miller, Secretary Wiedefeld, County Executive Olszewski, Mayor Scott, and so many other state, city, local, and Hopkins officials. Today marks a significant milestone for the people of Baltimore and for the continued mission of this campus in Southeast Baltimore. This year, Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Center is celebrating our 250th anniversary. And as you arrived on campus, you may have noticed our anniversary banners with the words, "Your health, our commitment." Since our humble beginnings as an almshouse in 1774, our mission and our commitment to the people of Baltimore has been about making connections, connecting patients with the right health care, connecting with our community to provide outreach and education, connecting with learners to grow future leaders of tomorrow, and connecting brilliant minds with resources to provide hope through groundbreaking research. That is why we are so thrilled to be the site of this important announcement today. The Red Line will significantly strengthen our connections as an academic medical center with others across the region and the city. From the Woodlawn area in Baltimore County, through West Baltimore to downtown, and across East Baltimore to the Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Center. As we celebrate our 250th year, this project is a vital step forward for the people of Baltimore and beyond, enhancing access to health care, to jobs, and to education for everyone. We are so fortunate in the city of Baltimore to be home to world-class healthcare institutions and universities. But historically, transportation to these resources and jobs has been challenging for many residents. As someone who relied on public transportation every day in the early part of my career at Hopkins, I know firsthand the impact that investments in infrastructure like this can have on the lives of the people in our community. And we know that equitable access is essential for creating vibrant, healthy cities and enriching lives. This new Red Line will make it easier for patients and their family members to access some of our unique services here, like the Johns Hopkins Burn Center, the Asthma and Allergy Center, our nationally recognized geriatric programs, and the Memory and Alzheimer's Treatment Centers, to name a few. It will also open doors to students who want to come to Johns Hopkins Bayview to learn, and to faculty and staff who want to devote their time and talents to helping us further our mission to provide hope and healing for all. We are so honored to be a part of Baltimore's future in this very special way. Governor Moore and the Moore administration, Mayor Scott, the Maryland Department of Transportation team, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your partnership, and your vision, because we know that when we work together, Baltimore just keeps getting better, and it's our time. So it is now my pleasure to introduce Lucia Islas. Ms. Islas works as a case manager at the Southeast Community Development Corporation, just down the street on Eastern Avenue. She is also a member of the inaugural Red Line Community Advisory Team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lucia Islas, and I'm here today wearing many hats. I do in my life every day, as I do in my life every day. I am a mother, I am a Baltimore City community member, a worker, an immigrant who has found opportunity in a new place. And I am also an advocate for all those trying to do the same. Throughout my years, volunteering with community organizations such as Mis Raíces, Ángeles de Baltimore, Comité Latino de Baltimore, and right now my work is a case manager at Southeast CDC. Previously, I worked here at Johns Hopkins with Centro Sol, and I have seen time and again how what people truly want is a way to improve their lives and create opportunities for the next generation. Access to opportunities like jobs, skills training, education is empowerment, and the Red Line will make that access a reality. I am so proud to be on the Red Line's Community Advisor Committee so that I can bring the voices and perspectives of those who are working every day to build stronger communities in which people can thrive. Today is a day of celebration. This is a milestone that shows that when communities continue to advocate for what they need, we can change the course of our city and our communities in powerful ways. Thank you so much. And I will now turn things back to the Administrator Arnold to close the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucia, for being here and showcasing why this project is needed. We are so glad to have you on the Community Advisory Team, and I greatly appreciate the time that you're dedicating to make the Red Line the best project it can be. So thank you, and huge hand to Lucia and all of the CAP members for the time that they're giving on the project. It's people like Lucia and the community members she served that drive our desire to create a more equitable, stronger, and thriving Baltimore region. I want to reiterate again how grateful we are for the shared commitment for all of our partners regarding the success of the Baltimore Red Line. So thank you for being here today, for celebrating this project. This will end our events. I want to encourage everyone before you leave to stop by the table at the back and get an updated t-shirt with a new logo on it. And then I'm going to invite the governor and secretary up. I think we'll take a few minutes of questions from the press.
All right, guys, we've got time for a few minutes of questions. We prefer to keep it event focused first, and then we can just look at questions at the end.
Governor Moore, you're facing budget constraints. You just saw the legislature increase car registration and tobacco prices to cover some transportation costs. How are we going to fund it?
Yeah, well, and I'll ask Secretary Whitfield to come up as well. We know that we have the resource we need for the phase that we're in right now, and we're excited to be able to properly utilizing those resources to be able to continue moving us forward. I do think it's important to remind people that elections do have consequences, that not just on consequences on the statewide level. because, as we said, we're committed to making sure that the people of the Baltimore region are getting proper transit access and proper transit options. But elections have consequences on the national level, too. And when you see us out campaigning to make sure that we can get 4 more years of a Biden-Harris administration, when you see us out here campaigning to ensure and make sure that we have an administration in Washington that understands the importance of transportation, the importance of being able to move people from where they live to where they work, or where they live to where they worship, or where they live or to where they go to school, and that we have an administration in Washington that sees Baltimore, that understands the importance of Maryland, that elections have consequences. And so we are confident that in partnership with the federal government that we're going to be able to get the project done. But again, I want to be very clear to the people of our state that elections do have consequences. No, I think people have seen that, in our first 2 years of our administration, we've been able to show that fiscal responsibility does matter to us. And fiscal discipline matters to this administration. And we've been able to get very big things done and also be strong fiscal stewards of Maryland's taxpayers and Maryland's taxpaying budget. And so we look forward to continue that trend. I can tell you right now that will be the trend that will take place in the state of Maryland as long as I'm the governor. And we're going to make sure that in partnership we're going to be able to get big projects completed. Yeah. Listen, I don't think there's no one who saw the debate last night and thinks that President Biden had a great night. I also know that there's no one who can look at the record of the Trump administration and think that Donald Trump had a good presidency. And I know there's a lot of talk today around debate performance. I also think it's really important that people focus on presidential performance. I also think that that if you look at what's happening right now in the state of Maryland, that we are now coming on historic drops in unemployment, where when we were inaugurated, Maryland was ranked 43rd in unemployment in the entire country. Now Maryland is going on 12 straight months of amongst the lowest unemployment rates in the entire country. That when you think about where we went 8 straight years where we watched the homicide rates in the state of Maryland nearly double over an 8-year period. The non-fatal shooting rate in the state of Maryland double over an 8-year period. Baltimore City went 8 straight years of 300+ homicides. And now we are coming off, as the mayor was speaking about, coming off historic drops in homicides, historic drops in non-fatal shootings, historic economic growth that we've been able to see. And I want to be clear that that does not happen by accident. That happens because of partnership, and it happens because we have the partners in President Biden and Vice President Harris that we have. And so I understand that that a lot of the talk today is going to be about the performance of a debate last night. I also just know that November is an eternity away, and that people need to make sure that we focus on the performance of the presidency, and not just an individual debate performance.
Governor Moore, do you believe that you will have that partner in the White House after November, after the country saw what happened last night?
Yeah, I do. I think we are going to have a partner in President Biden. I think we're going to have another 4 years of President Biden and Vice President Harris, and I'm looking forward to it. And the thing I would say to the people of our state, look at what has happened in our first 18 months in the state of Maryland. Look at the momentum and the progress that we've continued to see, where we're actually showing we can get big things done again. And that we can make sure that every single part of the state is seen and is growing and is supported in that. And if you look at what's happened in our first 18 months of our administration, imagine if you give me another 4 years of this. So we're excited to work to make sure that, that the president is going to be successful in November.
4 more years.
4 more years. I'm sorry? I think the president is absolutely capable of serving 4 more years, and I believe that the president will serve another 4 more years.
Some in the community don't believe that the Red Line will happen until they see shovels in the ground. So how do we prevent this from getting canceled again? How do you make sure that this happens?
Yeah, I am very well aware of of the cynicism, because I'm gonna be very honest, I feel the cynicism too. You know, I've been involved in politics for 18 months. I don't come from a political background. I don't come from a political family. My family is not one that made policies. My family is one that felt the consequences of them. And I understand the frustration that a lot of people might feel, where they feel like, again, it's difficult to have hope if you feel that hope is going to be dashed. And so sometimes you just choose not to hope. But I think the promise of today, the promise of this team, and the commitment that we're making is that every day we're going to make sure that we're fulfilling this promise. That when we came on board and Secretary Wiedefield said that, you know, even as we're going through the interviewing process, when we're talking about priorities, we said this was a priority and we got to get it done. And so we are going to walk every step of the way with the community. We're going to walk every step of the way with our federal partners. We're going to walk every step of the way with our local partners. We're going to walk every step of the way with the private sector. We're going to walk every step of the way with our community partners. Because we know that if we continue doing that, if we continue working with a sense of transparency and openness, but a dedication that we are going to get this done, then we will get it done, and it'll be the right thing for the people of this city and the right thing for the people of this state.
Governor, that said, what's the ambitious timeline and practical timeline of shovels in the ground and riders on the train? I got the shovel.
It's in the 3 to 4 year time frame, right? That's obviously if things go very well, but it's based on building consensus on the next phase of this, which will take some time, and then getting the federal dollars lined up. But we are going to be very, very aggressive in getting this shovel in the ground.
Hey, Sam.
How much federal money are you expecting to pay for this? How much state money do you think you will need, or percentages? And how do you anticipate paying for it from the state side, you know, while already facing the $3 billion education funding shortfall in the next few years?
You want me to take part in that?
When you look around the country, these types of projects, it generally ends up about 50% federal and 50% local. And that could be a combination of state, local government, private sector. So all those are on the table.
And paying for it, I mean, amid the education shortfall right now, the legislature made some moves this year to increase the fees, to make some moves to that shortfall. But what will be needed in the next few years to do all of that and now all the rest?
I think what will be needed is what people have seen from this administration is that we believe in being fiscal stewards of taxpayer dollars. We believe in being fiscally responsible, and we believe in doing big things. And I don't think we need to be able to choose between those. You know, I think as we continue moving forward, as we think about all the projects that we have to be able to get done, we know that the partnership with the federal government is going to be important, but also making sure that we have a smart and efficient state government in the way that we do our work and the way that we work our budgets is going to be incredibly important. You know, we're going on the second straight year of having a bipartisan balanced budget, that we're going on the second straight year of being able to get really monumental and important things done within our state, and also being really smart stewards of taxpayer dollars. And that will be the trend that will continue throughout our entire administration.
All right, guys, thank you all so much.
Thanks all.